Hi everyone, I'm Jay from the Actually ADHD Tumblr. Welcome to the official Actually ADHD YouTube channel. I'm finally back with the next Thursday Thoughts video about ADHD and our dreams and life goals. And I have a paper. Also, I keep looking at me instead of the camera lens. Sorry, my eyes are going to be all over the place. So, today we have two topics. Number 1, what are special interests or hyperfixations? Number 2, how special interests or hyperfixations can affect our dreams and life goals. Special interests are those topics or things you get really interested in for an extended period of time. Some people aren't comfortable with using the term special interest because it has a strong connection to the autistic community. Some autistic people don't like it for themselves because they feel it medicalizes something that shouldn't be medicalized. So other terms you might see in relation to this phenomenon include hyperfixation and obsession. I use special interest because it's a term I've been using for 20 years, since before I was diagnosed with ADHD. But you should definitely use the term you're most comfortable with, that you feel best describes what you experience. Now, special interests are different from hyperfocus. Hyperfocus is a state in which we are focused on one thing and don't notice what's going on around us. It's like flow that athletes and musicians talk about. You know, be the ball and all that stuff. Hyperfocus is way more limited in time than a special interest. For example, when I was a child, I hyperfocused on reading. When I was reading a book, I didn't hear people talking to me or anything. That actually still happens to me. If words are in front of my face, I find it really difficult to properly take in any other information. So to explain this all a bit more, I've had several special interests over the years. Guinea pigs, writing, reading, Celtic knots, knitting, crocheting, and autism are all on that list. Some have lasted longer than others, and the strength of my interest tends to cycle. When the interest is stronger, I hyperfocus on it multiple times a day. When it's weaker, I still know everything I've learned about it and can natter on for hours if given the chance, but I don't constantly research it. We can become experts on our special interests. When hyperfocus kicks in, that expertise takes very little time to build. This can be fantastic for achieving our dreams and building success in our lives. The downside is that our special interests can take over our lives and edge out everything else that might be important to us. In addition, if your special interests cycle like mine do, you might find it really hard to keep pushing towards your dreams when that interest begins to wane. The way all those successful ADHDers harness their special interests is they choose a career that makes use of their expertise and skills. It makes sense, really. If you know that you will hyperfocus on a particular topic, you can make a lot of things happen by making that your career. It's a decent way to hack your ADHD and get yourself moving in spite of inertia. If you cycle like I do, or if you drop special interests completely, it can be really hard to figure out how to deal with that when you're trying to decide on a career path. I do have a few suggestions, though. First, remember that you don't have to choose a career and stick to just that one thing for the rest of your working life. I did my Bachelor of Music in Composition, spent 10 years working in early intervention, and worked as a church secretary for 2 of those years. And I've been a freelance copy editor for 11 years. Second, look at the things you're interested in and your past special interests, and see if there's a common thread running through them. Maybe they're all related to animals in some way. Maybe it's some kind of physics or math. That common thread can be a great way to look at your career path. Third, think about your skills and abilities. I studied music because I had been playing clarinet since I was 10, and I felt like it was the only thing I was really prepared for. I worked in early intervention because I was really interested in autism, but also I have always been really good with kids. I worked as a church secretary because I grew up with clergy and understand how the church functions. Plus, my mom taught me some secretarial skills when I was young. And I am now a copy editor because I love words, and my early exposure to quality literature gave me a strong sense of what makes for good grammar. Special interests can be a pain in the butt. My friends have been known to point out that I put guinea pigs in most of the stories I write. It can also be lonely, feeling like you only have one or two topics that you can talk about with other people, especially if those topics are particularly unusual. But they can also be fulfilling. I genuinely love guinea pigs and would be bereft without them. Drawing Celtic knots is still really calming for me, and words are my life. In future videos in this series, I'll be looking at a variety of specific traits of ADHD that can impact our dreams and life goals, and hopefully I'll be able to provide a few practical suggestions to help you deal with those things in a positive manner. Today's question: have your special interests or hyperfixations helped you make career choices? And video input. Do you have any questions related to dreams and life goals that I can include in a future video in this series? How about other topics related to ADHD that you'd like me to talk about? That's it for today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and keep an eye out for my next upload. Peace and blessings.